you want to promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Afrique Today, where you can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Afrique Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.afriquetoday.com. Afrique Today, the best of digital TV. Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Afrique Today, where you can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Afrique Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.afriquetoday.com. Afrique Today, the best of digital TV. Promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Afrique Today, where you can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Afrique Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.afriquetoday.com. Afrique Today, the best of digital TV.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday. I know this is such a wonderful day, and I hope our viewers are out there with this wonderful weather. So you might hear a little fan going on behind me because it is hot today and it is really, really warm. But I want to welcome you to the Voice of AAU. That's the Voice of American Africans United. I am your host, Dr. Yvette Butler-Yaboa, and I have my
The
co-host,
invisible man. The invisible man.
the Invisible Man, and we are always here with you on Friday. And we want to thank our audience so much for coming on every Friday and following us. And each week we get a larger followership. So I'm really excited that we're bringing content, relevant content that you want to hear about. And I'm excited today. I'm really, really excited because, we have a very, very special guest who's all the way from across the oceans in Ghana. So we have another guest from Ghana, which we're so excited to have on. And I know you see our Honorable Aquasia Vivio, who is going to be talking to you a little bit later. But as you know, I hope we have our video because, Honorable, I'm going to tell you, we love Ghana. And there's so many people out there who are just excited about coming to Ghana, relocating, the repatriation, and just reestablishing in our homeland. So before I do our most wonderful introduction for our Honorable, I want to show you a quick video because we always try to set the stage with a video to give you a little relevance of what we're going to talk about today. So do we have the video? Can we play the video, please? And if the video's not ready, okay, I don't know if the video's ready. Let's play the video at the commercial break. We'll play at the commercial break. So we're going to jump right into it. First, I want to thank you so much, Honorable, for being on to us today. So let me introduce our guest today. And I know many of you have questions. So remember, this is a live show. We're testing a new program today, a new call-in system. So please bear with us. Hopefully we'll get to the calls, but please, we have a new system, so do call in if you have any questions. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful guest. We have today with Honorable Aquasia Vivio. And now I won't say the second name because, I will mess it up. I'm good saying the first and last name. And I'm really excited. He was appointed in February 2017 as a Director of Diaspora Affairs from the Office of the President of Ghana. He is responsible for overseeing the overall formulation and implementation of the Ghana Diaspora Engagement Policy. A little bit about this wonderful young man. Professionally, he's a certified enterprise architect with over 30 years of experience in IT, financial, insurance industry. He has a worldwide exposure to the Ghanaian diaspora, having previously worked in at RSA, and you have to tell us what RSA trigger, what that is, in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, and also in Switzerland. So you have to tell us a little bit about that history, what you've done there, and how that all relates to being here and being the director of the diaspora. He holds a master's degree in business systems analysis and design from City University and a degree in accounting and finance from London South Bank University. So we can imagine where he's been living. He's been living over in Europe and has a great, vast experience on that European diaspora as well as us in here in the United States. His previous roles have been guidelines for business transformation and structuring organizational data and business processes for effective decision making. And we really have him here today because since he is the director of the Diaspora Affairs and all these, and we're talking about these wonderful diasporans who are all looking to come and relocate on the continent to the motherland and predominantly Ghana. So without further ado, Honorable Vivio, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and tell us what is, and I said that RSA Trigger?
Yes, of course. I'm going to tell you all about that. RSA is just the acronym for Royal Sun Alliance. It's an insurance company based in the UK that had gone to, that made a purchase of another insurance company in Sweden by the name Trygg-Hansa, and basically they formed that RS Trygg-Hansa, and that's also an insurance company. So I've been working for quite some time in the insurance industry. Worked with a London syndicate insurance company, AMS, and then other insurance companies, as well as Allianz. And in Denmark, I also worked with a company called Codan. Again, Codan had been at that time had a merger with the RSA, so I had links. I could go from Sweden to Denmark, and I was living there, working there as a consultant, having left my family at that time in the UK. So as far as Europe is concerned, especially in the Scandinavian countries, I also spent some time in Zurich when I worked for Zurich Financial Insurance. So I spent quite some time in Europe, and that's how I got to familiarize myself with the Ghanaian diaspora community, and basically when I decided to see how the experience with the diaspora community could be, effectively be utilized in my contribution towards the development of Ghana. And in this job, the diaspora that I'm looking at is not just the Ghanaian diaspora, but the bigger diaspora community that is made up of the African diaspora as a whole.
So tell me,
before I left Ghana to study and work in Europe, of course, I lived in Ghana, and your husband was a schoolmate. We both attended the University of Science and Technology. So we knew ourselves even as far back as that time. And then I lived for that period of time in Ghana, worked in Ghana for a while before, I went out to do some work experience in Europe, and, took me so long to gather all the experience that I was looking for before deciding to come back to Ghana.
And how long were you away, and what really made you come back to Ghana?
I was away for about 30 years, I think, because I remember my first daughter was born there. And as at the time I was living in UK, she was way away from, she had flown away from the nest and living a life of her own 30 years later. So that's how long it was for me out there.
So what brought you back? Because, I want to say there's nothing like home, but what brought you back?
I think I came back because there was the need to come and help out when there was a change in government. And the president was somebody that I knew long ago, long before I even traveled out of the country. So in his quest for, looking to get back to Ghana for his administration, we were all helping out. And then, of course, once the job was done, there was the need to continue with the help that we had been giving him to follow him to Ghana and see what we can do. And I believe, in all the years that he had known me, he knew the work that I had been doing in mobilizing the Ghanaian communities in the various countries that I found myself in. And therefore, it was only appropriate that I be given the job of trying to mobilize, engage the diaspora community. I think central to the decision making was also the fact that we have been considering for a long time the need to have some, central database that would enable us to keep track and mobilize the skill sets that we have in the diaspora community, like our engineers, our medical doctors, all the specialized skill sets that there are, and keep track of those when we need to mobilize to be able to, quickly get them to come on board and do what's. So this is a project still in the pipeline, yet to be realized. But I'm tying that objective closely to the National Identity Authorities project of going out there to register, those in the diaspora eventually, so that we get that database and we will be in a position to report as and when required.
Now, what about those of us who want to come back? Now, I am not Ghanaian. I'm hopefully going to be Ghanaian and by the process of my husband. But those of us who are just here, who, especially, I'm biased to the United States. Even though you've been in Europe, I'm a little biased to the United States. But for us people, us in the diaspora who want to come back from the United States, and what type of jobs can we come back to, or can we put our skill sets in that depository that you guys are creating?
I think we have to be realistic as to what we can come back to do in Ghana. Most of the people that we are looking to encourage to come back are people with the wherewithal to be able to set things up themselves. I believe, people have got enough networks and capital outside that they can bring home to also set some things up and get people employed and get people, to do things for Ghana. So we are looking forward to people coming in with the idea. That's that entrepreneurial spirit that you have, especially for those of you coming from America. We are so proud of what you do as individuals, the ability to set up companies, execute on your own, to be able to bring that same spirit when you come back to Ghana, to be able to get other people employed. There are few employment opportunities for now for even anybody to be considered. Of course, we could also be looking at getting into the CSOs and doing all those voluntary works and helping out here and there, and that is always open. But if you are looking for actually making money in Ghana, we would like to see people coming in to set up the businesses that will enable them to make money for themselves and to also help in getting people employment opportunities and to also, do well for themselves.
On the
Now
last
we're
show,
gonna get.
Dr. Butler, let me
Yes.
on the last
Go ahead.
show, we talked about a museum, and in the course of talking with another person who was also from America in Ghana, if you, as a person coming from America to Ghana, I remember saying or hearing that you couldn't actually open up a bank account and so forth and so on. So how would a person actually go about setting up a business?
I think yes, we do acknowledge that given the requirements as of now, there are difficulties in opening a bank account, but we are there to facilitate that as an office. We are there to make sure that roadblock, if we are made aware of, we can help out in resolving that issue until such a time that the laws and the regulations are changed. We are helping out individually to enable people to do this. And I believe the things that we have in the pipeline regarding what we want to do is going to eventually alleviate that issue for people. So we are very hopeful it can be dealt with. But in the meantime, if anybody finds himself in there, in fact, as a matter of fact, I recently made inquiries with some of the financial institutions, and the situation is not as bad as I thought it was, because some of them are even going out of their way to encourage, the opening of accounts by the diaspora community. I think the government on its own is looking to set up, banks that will specifically be addressing the issues for the diaspora. The president, as I speak, is already in looking to find out how we can get partners to open that development bank that we have been talking about for so long. And that development bank would, among other things, be taxed essentially to deal with this married problem. So we are confident that it can be handled sooner than later.
What's the rate of exchange for the U.S. dollar to the Ghanaian money?
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I've not been keeping tab that much, but I think it has always hovered around 5 point. I think lately it must be 6 or something, 6.1 or 5.5 thereabout, 5 point some few, decimals. But the important thing to note is that lately there has been some stability. Whatever it is, it has been stable and oscillated around the main, some given percentage for quite some time. So that for us is heartwarming. But of course, we like it to go back to where we started off when we were last in power as a government, which was 2000 when we started off with 1 Ghana cedis to the $1 as you have it.
Okay, thank
That's a
you.
long
And
way,
I think that's
way. That is an achievable objective that we are consciously working towards. And just as it was impossible some time back before it became 1-to-1, we can also work towards making it a 1-to-1 situation again, so that whatever you have in Ghana in the future would not be devalued in any way and be made to, kind of equal what you have outside of Ghana in America.
And so and actually, if people want to know what the rate is for the dollar, just go online and put it in, and you can find out. Because remember, we're talking to someone who's from Ghana, and you deal in Ghana CDs. We look at the U.S. dollars and what it is, but when you're in Ghana, you have to think in Ghana, because if you spend like a U.S. person, you will be. So you have to think in Ghana CDs when you're in Ghana. But we're going to talk about the beyond the return, because I know that you had the year of return in 2019, which was amazing and fabulous. And we had the opportunity to come in and actually get involved in the festivities. That was amazing and wonderful. So we're here to talk about beyond the return and the 7 pillars that the government is laying out for. Well, you could tell us more about the 7. But before I forget, though, this is a live show. We can put the call-in number up so we can have people who want to ask questions to call. I have a list of questions that I know is already sent in to me, but I do know that if we don't get to your question, please know that you can call in. If we can get the call-in number up, that would be great. But before we do that, can you just tell us, what is a diaspora? What is a diaspora?
The diaspora for us is anyone out of Ghana who feels Ghana, wants to be Ghanaian, wants to be part of us. To quote what our president is fond of saying, if you're an African, if you are Black, you're an African. The same way we, by extension, we are saying that if you feel like Ghanaian, if you want to be Ghanaian and you are outside of Ghana and you are Black, you are diaspora for us, and we want you to come back to Ghana.
Well, I hope that everyone out there hears this, and I want people to realize he was away for 30 years. And for all you Ghanaians who are watching this, or anyone from other countries, he went back to help his country grow. And the only way any of our countries on the continent are going to move in the right direction is if we here in what they call the diaspora, if we start coming back to our countries and back home and bringing our skills and talents with the monies that we have created here and developing our countries, because Africa cannot do it without Africans. And so I just say that to put it out there for those of you who are watching and sitting at home comfortably here in the United States or in Europe. Remember, you have an obligation to give back and come back to your country. And you see, this young man was gone for over 30 years and has come back now to develop and help develop his country. So tell us, what is some of the progress that you guys have made since 2017, since you're coming in, especially with the diasporas and in the office, and within your office? What are some of the progress you've made about the 7 pillars?
Okay, I think, yes, it's good I could start with my office first, because that is another dimension that has been added as far as the engagement of the Ghanaians and the diaspora community outside of Ghana is concerned. Initially, we did have some government initiatives that were always looking to engage the diaspora. That had been low-key, that didn't come, so close to what we have recently been doing. But when the office was created, the Diaspora Affairs, since its creation, and since the elevation of the Ministry of Tourism to the cabinet level, these two events have conspired to work towards fully engaging the diaspora. And therefore, the outcome of which we all know was the year of return. That ended us in the collaborative effort to make sure that we engage with the diasporans outside. And that was the result of the 1 year of intensive engagement, which has led subsequently to the need to reinforce and to consolidate the gains, and therefore the beyond the return. But I'll leave that aside before. But essentially, as far as the office is concerned, the office was made necessary because the president realized the importance that the diaspora can play in the development of the socio-economic development of the country. And therefore, there was the need to bring the diaspora till the head of the diaspora to as close as possible to his government, to his office. And therefore, where we find ourselves right now is where he wanted us to be able to have that better interaction with the liaison between the office and the diaspora. So we find ourselves at the office of the president with the express permission that we are looking at policies and implementations that will enable us to nurture that relationship that we are looking for with the diaspora and to be able to harness the potential of the diaspora. So we are right bang in the office of the president. And of course, we are working very closely with other state agencies, like our missions abroad, like our embassies, like the diaspora offices that we have in all these offices as the frontline engagements that we have with the diaspora. So working together collaboratively with GIPC, in terms of looking at our investments, with providing the heritage to meet the heritage requirements, the curiosity that the diaspora have, as far as, wherever their ancestry has come from. We are working closely as organizations, collaborating to make sure that we can harness the potential that we have out there. In Ghana ourselves, we had that Joseph project so many years ago, which was also, the baby of one of our ministers who was the Minister for Tourism and Diaspora Relations. At that time, the Diaspora Relations was at that cabinet, was at that ministerial level. And that was basically looking at how 400 years after, slavery, we could reach out to the diaspora community to say, it is about time, just like in the biblical sense, the Israelis could go back home after 400 years in slavery. We were looking at how we could also get the bag to also come and contribute. So that's how it is. We started those projects long before you even had your HR 1242, which is basically another response that we gave to this year of return.
Well, you mentioned the Joseph Project. I just put a plug in there. I'm not sure if you know my father-in-law. He was one of those people who actually started with the Joseph Project many, many moons ago. And so that's why we here in the United States start doing American Africans United, so that we can get those here in America and the diaspora really surrounded around something, it was start the year return, but actually to start coming back with our talent, with our knowledge, and really just to know the motherland. And tell us, what are the 7 pillars that the president has talked about? And I know you're very involved in those as well.
Yes, I happen to be the co-chair of that Beyond the Return, having possibly been favored because I chaired the Year of Return, the steering committee. We wanted that continuity, so we brought together everyone that was involved in the Year of Return, and we enlarged the committee, the steering committee, to encompass other government organizations and the private sector as well. And we ended up with what we are looking to effectively use as the management of the arm of looking at the beyond the return. And this is a 10-year project, which is looking to build on the success of the year of return to grow Ghana's, not just our industrial, our tourism industry, but our investment potential as well, and to solidify our, diaspora engagement programs. We also envision that this will solidify Ghana's position as the gateway to West Africa, and also to internationally put us on top of the repatriation, tourism, and investment destinations for global diaspora family. Among all things, we also want to use the foundation of the Beyond the Return to build on the 7 pillars as we are about to look at, which would enable us to derived based on the feedback from the historical Ghanaian diaspora, local Ghanaians and the public and the private sector, the key stakeholders, this development, are looking at the things that we can do, can get out of the diaspora, not just beating the heritage side of their curiosities and their reconciliation and their renaissance, this exercise, but to really, really look at, building on solidifying the economic relations that we can also. So I should think that, again, this basically, at this point, I can mention that some pillars are 1, to and 2, to set up a Pan-African Heritage and Association Center for focusing on promoting the Pan-African and the Ghanaian heritage. These are the objectives for the 1 and 2. And then for the 3, which is Invest in Ghana, we would like to facilitate special investment programs, such as what we have recently introduced as Sankofa Savings Account. Earlier on, one of the questions that I was asked is how we were, diaspora community would have difficulty trying to open bank accounts. The Sankofa Savings Account and the Sankofa account that we intend to, have in place is one way and a direct means of dealing with this issue that confronts people from the diaspora. With that, we want to ease the requirement of doing business and also identify the land investment opportunities for the diaspora. As far as our Invest in Ghana is concerned, we are doing everything that would enable people to know how and facilitate their investment appetite. Then we also have the pathway to Ghana. The pathway to Ghana is basically to see to the adoption of legal and policy frameworks on visa acquisitions, e-visa, and the institution of diaspora visa, so that we can facilitate key diaspora pathway programs, such as citizenship programs, educational and work exchange programs, residence and work permits, etc., etc. These legal frameworks are necessary if we want to open up the country to the diaspora, to make it easier for them to relate, to make it comfortable for them to relate, and to enable them to know that they can put their money where their mouth is, literally. And again, we also want to use the basis of, one of the bases of the 7 pillars, which is to give back Ghana, to enable that community of the diasporians to know that they can put in as much as they can through community service, through investing in, voluntary activities, through making sure that, they can, more like the CRS of their own efforts in trying to build relations with the country and to facilitate those give back opportunities, especially in situations like, medical outreach, where we know that there are lacking facilities in some places where, the diaspora community can come in with their rich experience in delivery of healthcare to move into those areas to offer the needed and the much needed, health care that some communities are lacking, and also to enable us to catch up on the modern technologies in health delivery, in education, provision of modern methods of educating people, in the provision of services that will enable us to reach out to every corner of the country. These are the initiatives that we are looking for people to come in and take to reach out to the communities, to let them know that they are not just welcoming them as brothers who were long lost, but we are welcoming them because we know that they have something very good to offer us. And then we also want to celebrate Ghana as a sovereign state in Africa, as a pathway. We want to put it in the conscience of most of average person out there in the diaspora, that our key cultural festivals, our media programs, our adoption of contemporary festivals, and the promotion of domestic tourism is important to us, and that we want to celebrate our country. We want to, put it on the map of the tourist agenda, so that one key achievement that we had with the year of return was that it was suddenly putting Ghana on the top list of places to visit in 2019. We would like this to continue. We would like this to get as much mileage as possible from our people coming back, not just to come home, but using that as a means to regularize their frequent visit to Ghana, so that the relationship can be deepened. And that is something that is dear to our hearts, not just for the economic benefit of it, but we know that that is the way to cement the relationship that we hope to build with our diaspora community. And last but not the least, we want to brand Ghana as a marketing campaign to promote Ghana as a hub for the African Renaissance, and to draft a new international narrative of Ghana, not just Ghana in this respect, but of Africa as a whole. We believe that if we can do this effectively for Ghana, we would be making sure that Ghana does not just become the pathway to Ghana, but to Africa as a whole. And our leadership role in Pan-Africanism would be cemented, would be enhanced. We would maintain our leadership role in making sure that we draw continuously the diaspora community to Africa. These are the 7 pillars that we have set ourselves to achieve in the 10 years that we want to campaign vigorously, to appeal to the diaspora community to relate to us, not just as a country, but as Africans. And it's unfortunate that the COVID has come to put a spanner in our woodworks, and it appears that we have lost a bit of steam from where we started off, from where we were heading to. We appear to have stalled a bit, but everything is being done in the background to make sure that we can pump it up again. We can bring us back to where we were, and already, even without the COVID restrictions, if we don't get ready for ourselves, we know the diaspora community is getting themselves ready, and are going to flood us this coming year and the next and the next. So we are getting ourselves ready. We want to make sure that our places to visit in Ghana are up to scratch, and that people will feel comfortable and safe when they are here. And that's, we continuously need to provide that the country is stable enough to accommodate and to be attractive enough to be also economically viable for people to come in and invest. These are the noble aims that we want to achieve, and we're working consciously towards it.
Well, we'll do everything in our power to make sure the steam, the steam did it got kicked off a little bit, but guess what? It's coming back, and Ghana, definitely, we're ready, and we will definitely do everything we can to ensure that that door pathway to the continent and is open, and then we push everything we can. But we're going to take a commercial break now and show a quick video. And after that commercial break, we're going to talk about citizenship, more also about land ownership. So think about those things, and also galamsey and how that's would affect us as far as clean water. So let's take a real quick commercial break, and I hope you guys enjoy this commercial because I love it. So commercial.
Ghana is a beautiful country. There is so much of it you probably haven't seen, haven't experienced, haven't touched, haven't felt, haven't eaten. Let's discover our land again with new eyes. Let's feel each other again. We are one people, brought together by destiny. Let's make that count. Let's show love for each other and our environment. Let's tell our stories, and let's watch and listen to our stories. There will be so much to tell.
At the center of the world is a country where the sun shines on all 365 days of the year. A country where gold moves beneath the ground, capturing the stories of our kings and queens above. A country with the best chocolate. Come experience castles and forts built on the dreams, aspirations, and sweat of a people full of dignity. Beneath the deep blue skies, follow the stars and let them take you on a journey of our people to the ends of the world through our rich culture, through film. The Black Star is calling. Akwaba. I am Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, and I'm the humble but proud president of the country at the center of the world, Ghana.
God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Well, welcome back, and I really hope I love that commercial. I think it couldn't have been done any better. But I'm going to dive right into some of the questions because we have so many questions that actually have come in. And so, question I have, and this is one about restructuring businesses. Now they ask, how does one go about restructuring a business, and what has it to do with the organizing data, and what are some of the opportunities available for someone who would want to come back to the continent, and it's predominantly Ghana?
Do you want me to take that immediately? You read that?
Yeah, you can. Oh, I'll go. I have a list, but take that one immediately so that the person can their question and get answer. Yes.
Okay, restructuring businesses in this context of Ghana is essentially making sure that businesses can have the confidence to have access to capital. We know the banking system, as we saw it, as we found it, was not the best there was, and therefore we needed to restructure it to enable those who had been dealing with the banks to have confidence to be able to continue, making sure that they deal with the commercial banks and they deal with the financial institutions. So there was a major effort. There is a major effort underway to structure the financial industry to make sure that the businesses can operate freely and in confidence relating to these financial institutions. Again, we have also put in place agencies that are looking to see how we can promote the entrepreneurship and make sure that as many people as possible can begin to look at taking on the risk of organizing themselves, putting in business ventures themselves. and growing businesses for themselves and providing the right environment for SMEs to grow, extending the necessary credit facilities that they require to them. And for those that are doing things that enable them to export, making sure that the value chains that we have in our, process of exporting to other countries can really enable us to take advantage of the value chain right here in Ghana before things are taken outside. So we are restructuring businesses in a big way. And the government initiative of one district, one factory is aimed at putting all the businesses in the right places and where the resources are, and making sure that the businesses are, in a position to process their products. The things that they want to put out in the market are very much developed locally in Ghana here before we take them wherever they need to be consumed, be it in the outside of Ghana or inside Ghana here. We want to do that. We want to make sure that the businesses are structured in such a way that they can do this. And as a matter of necessity, also making sure that we lay the necessary infrastructures in place for businesses to thrive. This is a major issue in Ghana here, that businesses don't have access to the right infrastructure for which to do the businesses that they want. The energy sector, making sure that the constant supply of electricity for businesses to operate is a guarantee. So as we speak, we are currently undertaking on some major repair works, which is, of course, at this stage, affecting the supply of power to people, to consumers. But this is an evil necessity that we have to go through. It's unlike the doomsday that we had experienced in the past. This is an evil an evil necessity that we have to go through to make sure that we can give ourselves that sustainable power supply that we so much require for any business environment, a structured environment that would enable that continuity of business activity. I go on and on and on, but I guess this is just a flavor of what is happening in the country in terms of the business initiatives, right from the farming sector. What we are trying to do is structuring our businesses, making sure that people can plant food for jobs, and making sure that as many as what we eat is produced in our country are all measures that we are putting in place to structure the business sector to enable them to get as much raw materials from Ghana here itself, and rather than depending on so many of the inputs that we do. At the moment, because of this structuring of this business in various ways, our rice importation has gone down significantly, and we were importing so many basic things that we have had to cut down on because they can be done here. And businesses are being urged to take advantage of these opportunities. We are putting in the necessary storage facilities all across the country, and making sure that when products are made, when things are produced, there are places that we can get to store them, and that when people go into farming, they have the necessary dams and rivers to give them that guaranteed supply of water to water their fruits and water their products before they mature. So we are doing everything there is to do, and I guess even in the industrial sector, we are structuring things that's in such a way that we can start producing some of the our hard tools that are needed for businesses here in Ghana, to make sure that the repair works and all the things that we need for transporting things can all be done here. So many aspects of what we are doing in respect of this restructuring.
Let me jump in for a second. 10 days from now will be the 31st of May, which is considered Memorial Day. Go back 1 year where were you when the murder of George Floyd occurred? How did you feel about it? The second part is talk about the transatlantic slave trade as far as Ghana is concerned. And the third part is, does Ghana owe reparations to those that she sent across the waters to be enslaved? So that's a
Oh yeah, I was
three-part
gonna get that. I was
question.
gonna get that reparation question. Yes,
Sorry,
and
break it down for me. I want you. What I've put down here is how we feel about the George Floyd incident. And the second one is what?
Yes, sir. Where were you when it happened 10 days ago, and how did you feel about it? The second part is discuss the transatlantic slave trade, and the third part is, does Ghana owe reparations to those that she sent abroad into slavery?
Oh, great. Thanks. Okay. Yes. 10 days from now, it will be the 1 year, isn't it? I believe,
Yes,
it was
sir.
1 year.
it's a sad
Yep.
moment and we need to reflect deeply as to
Yes.
where we are going and where we've come to at this stage. George Floyd's death, to me as an individual, was an unfortunate incident, a blot on the history of America for all your, industry, for all your enlightenment, for all your, you still basically lack in that basic freedom, which is a guaranteed human right that one has to really, really take a serious look at to see how, you can address that. But even before you stop worrying about that, there's always the opportunity to give yourself the opportunity to be free from it all and take advantage of what we offer in Ghana. Not to say that Ghana is crime-free or, no problem-free area, but as far as that one nagging problem of not being free and not being, given the basic human rights of that's as required by, everyone in the society, there is something that we have to work on. I'm glad that Ghana played a key and a significant role, even though we were not directly involved, in the reaction that the world had to offer, to the extent that our president, notably, said some very historic, remarks that had gone down very well with the Black community as a whole, with the world in general, and to the extent of even going further to see how in the future Ford parks or statue can be erected at the museum where, Du Bois also lays. Is something that we should be proud of as a country, which I would personally be happy to make sure that it can be executed in my term whilst in office. So we are looking to see how, the gains that we have made by this Floyd's incident can be made lasting, can, go forward a long way to really, alleviate the problems that our fellow Black people have in America and the rest of the world as a whole, not just, America, but, that xenophobic attitude that the Western world in general has towards a Black community is something that needs to be addressed. So personally, this is how I feel about it. If I should move on to the next one, which is the transatlantic slave trade, I think, yes, that is a blip on the on humanity as a whole, and more especially on us as Africans who colluded and, were also part and parcel of that slave trade. It's not only true that the white people took them to, those places that they sent them, but people had also colluded in making sure that they were taken away. And that is something that we need to reflect on. We need to find every way possible to be apologetic about. And I guess so much has been done. The fact that we have even been able to have this door of no return broken and returned somebody's to be buried in Africa to symbolize the opening of that door once more. Yes. Not for outward travel, but for inward travel to Ghana, to Africa, is something that is symbolic enough to show that, yes, we are remorseful about what happened, And so many elders and chiefs and presidents and government organizations have expressed that. We have tried to build our relationship with that community. And now we continuously are engaged in trying to make it better. We are offering for those who want to come back to Africa to take up that opportunity to come back home. So yes, we are addressing that issue. The transatlantic slave trade is certainly in the past, but we are still in a situation where rather than selling our own people to go and work on the plantations, in the factories, in places that are not befitting of humans, of any person of any dignity. We still find ourselves in economic doldrums in Africa mostly, and Ghana not being an exception. To the extent that if you should put a ship down right there at the coast, people will be queuing to go in there again, to go and work in the places under the so-called journey for greener pastures. So it saddens me. It is an unfortunate development we have at home here right now, that this can even be contemplated. But that is the reality on the ground. And that is why we are extending the arm to our brothers and sisters to all help put our hands on the till, to see how we can transform Africa, to help how we can make things better here, so that we can call this place home for people to be proud to belong to want to live here, and to try and pursue our own objectives here, right here in Africa and in Ghana. As to whether we think that reparations are due, I would seriously look at it in different forms. Reparation in terms of what is not available to be given is one thing. Basically, you are asking for something to be given that is non-existent here in terms of what is possible to give. So we can only give it in terms of what we have to offer, what we have the potential to give, which is our hospitality, our welcome, our invitation to come back, our readiness to relate, our readiness to engage, and our readiness to welcome back our own people. That, for me, is atoning for, and is a better kind of preparation that we can give to our people, if that is what is required. I hope I have been able to, in a way,
I feel your
address
sincerity.
I want to stay on the reparations. Well, 1 second though. I want to stay on the reparations, because as far as you have land, so we know that some chiefs are now giving land away to those from African.
Yes, so.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk a little about that, because that is something you have to give, and I'm excited about that. And because maybe one of the biggest questions I have asked, because they heard that Ghana is giving land to us, basically because of reparations or whatever the cause is, but they're helping us repatriate there by allowing us land. So tell us about that and land ownership, and how can someone in the diaspora actually own land in Ghana?
Yes, it's true that some chiefs, not a government's land that is available for people, as perhaps it's being peddled out there, but some chiefs, and of course, remember, it were the chiefs of the people, the traditional leaders who those days would have been at the forefront in engaging with the white settlers to actually that ended up in the transferring all those people from here, transporting them all the way to the plantations. So I'm not surprised that the traditional leaders are at the forefront in this effort, also making sure that they can offer something that will enable our people to come back. So yes, in Asebu, in Central Region, the chief over there has donated about 5,000 acres of land initially. And since that donation was made, I can assure you that other traditional leaders all across the country, yes, going all the way to the north, have also come forward to offer something for the diaspora community. We are progressing, we are proceeding cautiously, knowing that there have been certain developments in the past that have not ended as well as we wanted it to. So we are watching closely, we are monitoring this, we are getting ourselves involved to see how this can be done effectively. And that becomes a model that can be replicated across the country in atonement and in appeasement and I mean, for those who would be willing to come back. And this, mind you, is not just for those individuals only to benefit from, but to create the necessary and enabling community that would be, that would provide the necessary sort of environment for growth. And that is what, in my opinion, the chiefs have had the wisdom and the foresight to be looking to, encourage the settlements from the diaspora community. So yes, that is a form of, reparation of one sort or the other. But it's nonetheless, underlies the issue that yes, we want to engage and we want to, realign. We want to go away from what we had done in the past and be as hospitable and welcoming as much as possible.
Now, when the land, do we own the land or is it leased? Do you know anything about that process? And also let our audience know that how land works in Ghana, because people don't realize how land works in Ghana. Plus that once you do own it, you don't pay taxes on it like you do in other countries continuously. So could you explain yes, about that to our audience?
You certainly would not own it, but you lease it. But you lease it for a very long time, and that is something everyone in Ghana goes through that same problem. And I tell you, as I wish I could confidently talk about, owning property in Ghana here, but it's not as simple as that. But at least on this effort, on this initiative by the chief of Asebo, you are dealing with a legitimate source, and therefore the ownership is guaranteed for the period that he is going to be offering that land to you. And you can take it for granted that once you are offered a land in Ghana here, it invariably means that is it. It's for you for life. Well,
we're going to Paga. So we've been engaging the chief of Paga actually to hopefully give land. Chief Navapio up in Paga. So we're kind of excited. So when we come, we're going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that is another interesting side of this. That is an interesting side of this whole land ownership in Ghana, that it varies from place to place, from just as I guess in America, you have things vary from state to state. In Ghana here, even though it's one unitary, country, because of the tribal base and things are different from place to place. Inheritance and ownership are different depending on where you go to and for how long you can have it. But I guess the biggest pressure is in the city, which is Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast thereabout. All the rest of the places are more relaxed because, they are craving for people to come and take them.
We're not looking at Accra. Accra is too, and if people have not been there, audience, please, if you haven't been to Accra, it's a huge city, traffic problem you won't want to engage in. There's so many other beautiful parts of Ghana, and that's why we're looking for the northern and looking more like farming.
I think lately we are building some conurbations in Accra that are kind of a little bit stress-free.
Oh, yeah. Well, every time I go to Accra, I'll tell you, we stay in the Eastern region, and by the time we travel from the Eastern region to Accra, we have a meeting. We'll get there before people gets to the meeting. We're coming from a whole different region, so that traffic is no joke in Accra. And so I tell people, yes, it's no. But let me not stop there, because there's a few more questions I want to get, because we have a little bit more time, and we're hoping that our producer give us to at least 15 more minutes, because there are so many more questions. One of them was, what does the future hold for those who are interested in immigrating into Ghana? And one of the biggest things is, as people relocate to country, especially those of us who are not Ghanaian born, are African born, but born abroad, what are the relationships and the tensions that might start? Well, we have had people talk about these Americans or these European blacks coming back to the country and really accepting us into the country. And how do we, as those in the diaspora, not come into the country with our own ideas and impose that onto the Ghanaian people? How do we make this not the next Liberia?
I think it is beginning to dawn on people that if we are going to be looking or to deal with this mass exodus of people to Ghana, to Africa, then perhaps we need to have some programs in place that will enable people who are looking to come to go through an orientation of some sort, not just to understand and to appreciate what is already here, but to see how they can interface, they can assimilate, they can also, be part of the communities that they are coming into. Already, in terms of history, there is that, if you take Liberia, they had a problem because there was that big exodus, or there was that big influx of the diaspora community that came and lived out there, and the interaction that they had with the locals, and how over the years the class system had developed in such a way that it had brought imbalance in the society. I don't think Ghana is anywhere heading towards that sort of situation. But even before we get anywhere, we need to be aware of the future issues that could crop up, the development of already we have problems with our own society, with the haves and the haves not, and how not to compound it with, any further sort of variations, etc. But I think if you take it that, no, it is not just for those who were long lost to us through the historical slavery, who are looking to come back, but even some, recent Ghanaians who have lived outside for so long and have got a similar taste and values like those who are coming, who are also looking to assimilate. It makes it rather, unnoticeable as to who is coming in and who is not coming at all. In my opinion, that is something that augurs well for us, that we cannot even tell unless you really, really want to find out who this person is or who that person is. In terms of the language, in terms of the way, the mannerism, the way the people speak, in terms of behavior, etc., you might not be able to distinguish between a unique historical slave descendants coming to Ghana and any Ghanaian who's lived outside for so long also coming back to Ghana. They have so much in common. It's basically undistinguishable. So we in Ghana do not seem to, have so much concern about that issue. But of course, I believe those who are into sociology and those who are looking at studying the society in general would always have to pay attention to, these things and to be able to advise us as to how to deal with it. But I know
that we are looking to see how, even before one engages us through our diaspora offices in our missions and embassies, one can, perhaps get some basic understanding of where the one is coming to. And if we have the wherewithal, if we have the resources to be able to set up some orientation centers in country and outside of Ghana before one comes there, when one comes here, to really help in the assimilation process.
Oh, that would be wonderful. But I want to get back to the businesses. Someone sent in. They're looking to see what is a possibility if someone wants to come in and do building, constructively, and are there government funds available for someone who wants to come in and help with building, as far as communities, and also if someone wants to set up an NGO, what are are there funding resources, or do you have to bring all your money? Your NGO, someone who wants to come and do, like, for example, affordable somewhere.
I think this. If you want to come in to build something, there's always that opportunity to do it. Already, one of the major housing estate development is a partnership between some Ghanaians and some people from the diaspora, more specifically from America, which is the IE Mensa housing development. There are big partnerships all over the country trying to do things like that. And I guess that is one way of doing it. I suppose I wouldn't leave anybody just by themselves to say, you come to Ghana, you want to build something. I tell you, you would run into serious problems. You need to be partnering with some local guy to know who will show you the ropes and how, to maneuver this landmine of people to deal with, to be able to do anything of that sort. I don't know to what extent one wants to do things by themselves, whether they are going to lay the bricks themselves and do the painting themselves and do all the carpentry work, or if that is what they have in mind and they are capable of it, perhaps that is fine. But even if, as you try to do that, you need to be able to get the things that you require, buy the things that you want to use for your development work. And that is in itself a hard, a headache. And you therefore need all the assistance you can get from people who know where to take you and get all the stuff that you want to be able to do it. I think the other one you mentioned is in respect of what? Sorry?
NGOs, and is there funding
NGOs,
for these
yes,
type of activities?
NGOs, yes. As far as business registration is concerned, I think we've made vast improvements in the system as to how to do it in the process. We've not only we are not only better informed, but we are also, digitizing some of these capital, the needed resource to start anything of that sort. Most of them are dependent on having linkages outside, networks outside, to enable them to set up and to be able to offer the necessary assistance to people and organizations. So I would like to think that even before one comes in, one would have laid the network in place to enable them to be able to do this when they come over.
You
One last question.
Online right now. I'm trying to log back on, so I'm on two computers, but you can hear me. I wanted to ask a question very quickly, and someone wants to know, how do we go about getting our citizenship, and how easy to become a citizen? And can you tell us more about the visa process that's going on right now? Because there's been quite a bit of complications of people getting their visa here in America.
Yes, as far as the visa is concerned, we are looking at an e-visa system that would eventually take out so many of the pains that people go through. So until that is delivered, there will be nagging issues, nagging problems for people trying to get their visas. And but then we have to admit that there's been some improvement in our visa processing. Our embassies are not as bad as they used to be. They're still having to cope with the COVID restrictions that were put in place in the terms of the man hours that one could spend and the number of people who could be working at the same time in an office. So these compounded issues haven't been helpful. But on the whole, because of the year of return, certain things were drawn to our attention, and we had to call for some interventions to enable some of the issues to be dealt with. I guess some remain and some were sort of reverted to the old processes when, the year of return ended. But because of the beyond the return, we as a steering committee would continuously bring pressure to bear on the authorities to make sure that, the travel to Ghana will be made as simple and as easy as it can.
My last question is
citizenship.
there a social security system in Ghana?
Okay, that is another big issue that we have. We have a social security system. As to whether it is enough and sufficient to care for you once you've patronized it is another thing. But even for most people, beyond a certain age, when you are coming in, I can see how you can join in that social security provision. You have to have your own social security coming into Ghana. For the new and the younger generation, if they would want to contribute and patronize the various schemes that there is in Ghana, they would have to, of course, be mindful of the fact that whatever they accumulate over the years would only, as long as our currency variations are, stay put, entitlements would only be relevant and possibly meaningful only when you continuously remain in Ghana. But if you are coming from outside and you've accumulated something, there's that social security portability that we are looking at as a scheme that will enable you to enjoy your facilities having been accumulated elsewhere in Ghana here. So that is, of course, in most cases, a bilateral sort of review, a bilateral agreement with country to country. But on the whole, we have that problem on our radar, and we think that is something that we need to make sure that it is there to encourage people to, also move together.
Thank you.
So social security portability is on the radar. We want to make sure that it's something that is in place.
Well, I have two more really important questions, and one is about galamsey. And with the galamsey and watching all the videos that are going on, how clean is the water? And can we, and this is a question that came up, can we drink the water?
Interesting.
And even brush our teeth with it. That was a question that really came. They want to know if they can drink the water, can they brush their teeth with it? And how clean is the water? Has a galamsey damaged some of the things that is what we're seeing in the media?
There is no doubt that our waters are in a terrible state due to galamsey activities. And even to go to the extent of saying how clean is it for you to drink is not a consideration as it is for now. So what we are worried about right now is how to stop the galamsey in the first place. And once that is achieved, then we would obviously be looking at how do you make the water drinkable, which is basically to begin with by, stopping the galamsey activities all over, wherever, and making sure that, it does not, people do not carry on as normal. And that is a major issue now as we speak, with the government taking the bull by the horn and grappling with it to make sure that, we can go back to the old when we were able to, drink our streams, drink our waters, and, basically have very little worries as far as, pipe-borne water is concerned. For now, if you are living in the cities, yes, you have your clean water coming through, but I can tell you that almost everybody depends on bottled water for consumption, which wasn't the case some years back. I remember coming back to Ghana after so many years of being away, and I felt so sad that, I could not just hold my hand to the tap and drink from my tap, just the water that was going to come out of the tap. And that's how we used to drink. We come out from outside, you're so thirsty, you just go to the tap and you could drink as much as you could. But now I can't see anybody doing that, not in the cities at least. And everybody dependent on, sachet water or bottled water, which is sad. But look, even before we consider getting back to that state, the first priority for us as people, for us as government, is to stop the galamsey, because it's not just our water that is at stake. Our forest is at stake. Our forestry
Yes.
cover is diminishing very fast, and it is beginning to impinge on our cocoa industry, because they are cutting down cocoa trees in order to do all the things that they are doing. They are cutting down the cassava, planted all over to do what they are doing, and they are not putting anything back to cover the land that has been moved. So we definitely have an issue. We need to address it. That is why the president, in his wisdom, as the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Army, has called on the military to deal with the issue. So as far as Galamsey is concerned, we are at war. And we are doing everything to make people realize that this is not a joking matter, that the government is taking it very seriously, and that we are confronting it head on. And that in the course of that, there will be some collaterals, that will be damaged here and there. But of course, eventually, when we have done it and achieved our objectives, we will be able to start dreaming and thinking about how our water can be safe for consumption. But for now, for most part of the country, especially where we know the galamsey activities are taking place, it's not a decision, it's not a consideration at all that you want to drink or you think you're making it safe for drinking for now. You want to make sure that
Okay, so
it is stopped in the first place.
bottle or sachet. Say thanks. But the last question I have before you give your last closing comments is COVID vaccine regulations. What is going on with COVID, and will people coming and traveling to the continent, are we going to be required to have the COVID vaccine?
I think when it comes to COVID, I think most people would applaud what we have been able to do in Ghana here, and how when everybody thought we were going to be overwhelmed, we have not been overwhelmed, but we have managed this situation very, very well. And I would also like to add that as far as the COVID, protocols are concerned, and what is done in Ghana is concerned, we are very much part of a bigger community, and that is taking instructions, taking leads, from so many of the measures that have been put together by the international community. The protocols that relate are equally relevant here as to what tests to do, how to travel, etc. But most importantly, the enforcement of some sort of basic things like the nose masks, etc., to the largest extent has been complied with, even though, yes, as soon as you get out of the cities, you hardly see people doing that. But all because they haven't experienced the COVID as other places have done. It's been confined to the inner cities most of the time. And in the cities, people have been, as far as workplaces are concerned, places of worship, places of entertainment, people have, to a large extent, stuck with obeying the rules, perhaps far better than in other countries. And that is why our death toll and numbers are so low. But we have done very well. And as far as travel is concerned, we still have one of the perhaps measures at the port of entry that people can be proud of, even though, yes, occasionally it is flagged down as being a little bit abused and, not some corrupt elements here and there. But on the whole, I think it's been quite effective. We've been able to, by the systems in place, flag some entrants who have got the COVID and therefore preventing them from getting, into the bigger communities. I think it is fair to say that COVID didn't start from Ghana or perhaps from Africa. It was brought to Africa and it was brought to Ghana. And therefore, the best place to regulate COVID, coming into the country is through the port of entries. For now, our land borders remain closed. So it is mainly through our international airport that we are having to deal with this menace. And I'm happy to say we've been doing rather very well. And if it should continue like that, we would be perhaps in a good stead sooner than later. And again, when it comes to the test itself, the vaccine, with all difficulties aside, the uptake of the vaccine is quite high in respect of the places where, the COVID is known to be kind of notoriously high, especially in the cities. So yes, the intake has been reasonably, people have taken it willingly, and I myself have had my second jab, and we are encouraging people to go ahead and take the jabs to enable us to also, free ourselves, as they've done in the UK. Now, basically, because the uptake of the vaccine was so high in the UK, now they can go to the pubs and you can go to the sports stadiums and watch their football games. And we want to get there as well. Already, nightlife for Accra here is basically near to normal, but yet our numbers are still down. So we are doing something. I suppose we are doing something right.
Now, do you think they're going to require it in the future? Require people entering into the country to take the vaccine at all, though? Or is that something that they're looking for down the pipeline?
I didn't get that.
Are they going to? Are they looking down? Are they looking down the future to require the vaccine before entering the country, or is that somewhere in the pipeline? Yes.
I think. Look, that is why I said that this is very much an international thing. We are a part of an international community. There will be no point in, isolating ourselves with some peculiar sort of requirements when perhaps the rest of the world are also doing something else. So in that respect, it's too early to speculate for Ghana, but I believe we will play our role as international partners.
All right, wonderful. So I want to give this opportunity for any last minute thoughts and why should we come to Ghana?
Thank you for this opportunity. Last word that I may have to give to those who are looking to relocate to Ghana and to respond to the clarion call by the president for people to come home. We have asked people to come home because we believe this is where, and we genuinely believe this is where they are from, and that they are part of us. And when they can also help us in the development of this area, like I said, to enable us to make this place a happy home, where people will not be looking to, move away from, seek greener pastures, where people will not be forced by the gang to go away to be sold into slavery any longer. That is certainly in the past. We are looking to build our country, build Africa, and make it a place where the black man can walk on the streets with his chest out and not be treated like George Floyd had been done, and so many other people have been treated on the streets of America and in other places of the world, where the black man has no dignity and very little respect. So, like Steve Wonder said, you should be looking to see how you can come to a place where, your parents, your grandchildren can be proud of can't call themselves, you would not have to basically try to appease some white supremacists to live, to conform to certain rules and regulations that is different from what pertains to them. This is the place where you can come. This is the Africa that we want to build. And we need your participation. We need your cooperation. We need your engagement to be able to do this. And that is why we are constantly trying to reach out. We've reached out on several occasions. We started reaching out when we did with Angela Milo and others who came earlier. With Du Bois, when even at the age of 93, he felt Africa was the place to come. And he came and lived here and died here. I think it is never too late for anyone to find their roots to come back to where they belong. You are very much welcome. And I hope you sit down, meditate over this, and come and have a taste of it. Even if you are not deciding to come and live here, come visit us and explore the situation for yourself and make that decision. Thank you.
No, thank you. And you're supposed to say Aquaba. So we're welcome.
We'll say over to you when you come.
Wonderful. I want to thank you so much, Honorable Bibio. I know it is late there for you. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. And I want to thank all of my audience out there for tuning in. Sorry we didn't get to your calls. I did get texts in we have a new system. It wasn't up and running, but people did text me. So I hope I did get to your questions. So if I didn't get to your questions, remember you can always email your questions to me. So you can please put my email up on the screen. So you can email your questions to me at ybutler@gapbusterinc.org. So if you have questions, please email your questions to me. We are so excited, and I hope all of you who are out there, if you haven't had a chance to visit the continent, please consider, well, I'll say consider, please put it on your bucket list, because it is a must to go. Because if you haven't been to the continent, I'm going to tell you, it is an experience that you will never get anywhere else. And not just, I'm not saying just come to Ghana, but I'm favorable, and I'm more biased towards Ghana, and I've been to many other parts of the continent, but Ghana has been the one that has captured my heart, captured my soul, and captured me to want to commit. So I do recommend you coming to the continent. And for those of you who are traveling with us in July, I'm excited. So get excited about it. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to meet our Bibio about some of the opportunities that exist on the continent for you. But without further ado, I want to thank you again for joining in with us tonight. I want to thank Afrique Today so much for allowing us this extra time. We were on an extra half an hour, so I want to thank Afrique Today for allowing us this extra time to be on with Honorable Bibio. And I want to thank my co-host. I don't hear the invisible man. So I said, well, I want to thank my co-host, like he's not there, but I want to thank you again. And Honorable Bibio, please, I cannot wait to see you. I'm excited about coming. And I'm excited about just bringing new energy and new people to the continent. And one of the things that we do here in the United States and through American Africans United, we actually have them, we give them and tell them to read the book of Jamestown to Jamestown, so they'll be a little bit more familiar with the ongoings of the whole slave trade in Africa in general and on the continent of Ghana. And then we do a whole thing, because I tell you, come with the open mind, open mind. I can't say it more, open mind. And you will enjoy every bit of it.